Okay, let's jump in. For our deep dive today, we're looking at the miracle of togetherness.
Yeah, and we've got this really fascinating mix of sources, historical, cultural, even some scriptural analysis.
And they all seem to point to this one idea, that real connection. It often needs some kind of radical outside force to happen.
Exactly.
So let's start with a story, a pretty shocking one, that CNN actually called a Christmas miracle.
Oh, this story it's rooted in such a deep betrayal. It's wild.
Tell us about it.
Okay, so you have to go back to 1949.
Yeah.
In the U.S., society was extremely conservative.
Right.
And a teenager, Genevieve Purinton, she becomes pregnant. Her own parents and her doctor, they conspire against her.
Wow.
They lie. They tell her the baby died at birth, but secretly they place her daughter in an orphanage.
That is just an unbelievable act of separation. For 69 years.
69 years, and the only reason they were ever reunited in 2018 was because of a specific technological breakthrough.
Genetic testing.
DNA. It was this powerful external thing that finally reversed the separation caused by, fear and shame.
And that idea of a radical intervention
hmm
that connects this modern story to what some call the original greatest meeting.
It really does, because that biblical account of togetherness, it doesn't start with joy. It starts with a huge crisis.
You're talking about Mary and Joseph.
Exactly. In Matthew 1, this wasn't just some relationship drama. I mean, this was potentially life or death.
In that society, 2,000 years ago, being pregnant before marriage was a source of intense shame.
And danger. The sources are clear. It was technically punishable by stoning.
So here's the part that I find fascinating. Joseph's first reaction is described as righteous. He decides to quietly break the engagement, to cut her off.
Right, and he wasn't being malicious. It was actually the most honorable, rational thing to do. He was protecting his reputation and, trying to spare her public humiliation.
The human response,
Yeah.
the logical response.
The logical response. But then comes the divine intervention. The angel's message is incredibly direct. Do not be afraid. And it instructs him to do the complete opposite.
To bring her home.
To bring her home. So God's idea of togetherness here it's the radical opposite of the rational human impulse to separate when we're afraid.
And this meeting gets a name, Emmanuel.
Which means God with us.
Mm-hmm.
The sources frame this as the ultimate miracle, the infinite creator choosing to be with the finite, specifically to close that gap that our fear creates.
Okay, so if the miracle is God with us, let's look at who got the first invitation. Shepherds.
Mm-hmm.
We have this very cozy, romanticized image of them. But who were they really?
Well, under Roman rule, shepherds had a very marginalized status. Their work literally kept them outside the city walls.
So they were outsiders.
Complete outsiders. They were often seen as ritually unclean, even untrustworthy. I mean, one source we looked at pointed out a shepherd couldn't even testify in a Jewish court. Their word was considered worthless.
So wait, the first people invited to witness God with us are the very people who are explicitly outside the community, the ones society has separated from.
It connects the dots perfectly, doesn't it? The message is undeniable. God's radical togetherness isn't for the insiders first. It starts with the isolated, the powerless, those who society has already labeled as outsiders.
So tying this all together, what does this mean for you listening right now? The sources seem to define this miracle not as some mystical event, but as a deliberate act.
Yeah, an act of recovery, of reconciliation, whether it's enabled by DNA science or by faith.
The lesson from Joseph seems to be that our rational choice is often to cut people off. To ghost a friend or unfriend a relative because it's easier.
Right. But true togetherness, this idea of Emmanuel, it means moving beyond that path to make the more radical choice to include and forgive.
So here's a final thought. If God's choice is not to cut us off, how can you practice Emmanuel? How can you say, I will be with you this holiday season? Think about those who might be on the margins of your own life, like the shepherds. A family member waiting for a kind word, a neighbor who's isolated, or a friend you've rationally decided. It's just easier to cut off.
Yeah. The call here seems to be about becoming, a little Christ yourself by being the one to reach out and close that gap.